Seedorf was playing. It was a mad game. And Beckham came off the bench and the whole of Old Trafford just stood up and started applauding him, like all of us. And he started crying. And he won the ball and they booed him. The whole stadium. As soon as he won the ball, boo! And he laughed so hard he lost the ball. And it's my favourite moment I've ever watched live. Like, just seeing David Beckham come on the pitch at Old Trafford.
Recording.
We're recording, we're in. What are we doing?
I don't know, just rambling.
We're just rambling. We need to do some prep for this.
Do you want to do... Should we get into World Cup stuff?
Yeah, but we need to work out the groups. I think we stop recording and get into the groups. I don't know the groups.
Should we just should we have a quick chat about it before we discuss groups? What's your favourite World Cup logo?
Yeah, but then, what's your favourite World Cup Panini sticker album cover? That's what I want to know. 98 I'm going with. France.
No, it's got to be Italy.
Yeah? What, Italian 90?
Yeah.
Okay.
Stickman.
The Stickman was good, but they had they had that, was it a hen or a rooster for France 98?
Yeah.
He had that red.
My favourite design
That
is...
was no mascot.
Yeah, that was the one. That's my World Cup, see, because
That's mine. That's the first one I properly know.
I remember USA 94, but only in...
USA 94.
I remember Maradona.
I love the style of that the most.
Yeah.
It's just so of its time, but so American. God damn it.
There's a few...
So in terms of stylised USA 94, in terms of logos, is the Italian.
I remember Maradona, the celebration, that immediately after when he celebrated that game, they immediately went, "Where's the drug testers? Drug test that man, because he's got no pupil. They're just all pupil. He's just high as a kite playing football for Argentina."
Right, get the groups on your phone.
Do you get the groups on the
Keep going.
But France 98 was the one. France 98 had a lot going for it.
I sicked off school to watch every single second.
I watched quite a lot. See, my tournament though is Euro 96, but France 98 is my World Cup. Euro 96 was the whole nation. It felt like the whole of the UK was just together. It was mad, that whole tournament. France 98 though.
Because on bigger issues, but I haven't seen too many kits as well. Love a World Cup kit.
We do love a kit.
Have you seen the new ident for the World Cup, like with the cottons?
Yeah, that was yesterday.
The design,
the
animation
coming
yeah,
off.
it looks good, doesn't it?
Did you see the?
Because they avoided any confrontation or conflict about the Russian Red Army or anything. So I think it works.
Yeah, it does work. It was
Avoid
good.
just park that. Let's just do something nice. So really good animation.
Yeah, no, it was good. Right then, should we get into it? Is this
okay? Before we start,
is this lit enough for you, or do we look too tanned?
Well, I do. Yeah. Oh, we put turn that off.
What do we do?
Just turn that the switch on. There you go.
That's better.
This
That's
level of
much
professionalism is just.
Well, look, we got lamps. Usually, we're using a mirror reflecting his light on his ceiling.
Shh. It's true.
Mystery. Sorry.
Okay, before we start,
make it anyway. He's just turned a lamp on. I'm not going to include that, are we?
Before we start, what's your favourite? What do you fancy World Cup?
I'd like to see Brazil based on this one.
That squad is ridiculous.
Squad's outrageous.
That squad is just stupid. They haven't included Alexandro, and they haven't included Malcolm, who's had the season of his life at Bordeaux.
On paper, I don't think I've ever seen a squad of that.
They haven't included Fabinho as well, who's just controlled league, like in the palm of his hand. And he's just got, but they've just gone, well, we've got too many centre midfielders.
Yeah.
If you were in another position, we might take it.
Don't need it.
It's ridiculous.
Do you fancy it?
Right. I'm fancying France. I'm going to say France.
You're fancying France.
Do you think France will win it, or do you fancy France to do okay?
I think they'll do better than I first expected them to. I think that they've got a lot of... I think they've got a nice little group that they can get out of, and I think they've got quite a good squad. But I fancy them to do a Denmark in '92, and I fancy them to do a who did Uruguay knock out in the was it Ghana?
Yeah, it was Ghana.
Ghana, yeah, you know, when that sort of team which they didn't expect them to do much, and they went
The
further.
Luis Suarez.
Yeah, the Luis Suarez handball on the line, where he just
The Black Stars.
yeah.
That's Asamoah.
But yeah, Asamoah Gyan.
And over the bar, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just expect
brutal there.
just. Oh, it was up there with Baggio's miss, wasn't it?
I don't know, no, because there's more gamesmanship and mind games behind that specific situation.
Suarez celebrated.
Yeah.
Got sent off, and they
Typified
allowed him to
Suarez.
stay beside the
Suarez
pitch.
edged right.
Just on the edge of the tunnel, wasn't
Just before he signed for Liverpool as well, wasn't he? He was still at Ajax at the time.
he? Yeah.
So I got a feeling that the Spain might be up to something, but I can't see past Germany because they're just
Yeah, Germany have got very.
They've got to be the
they're
favourites.
brutalist.
They've
Yeah,
got to be the favourites, haven't they?
yeah. And it's nice to be romantic and think it'll be like a Greece-esque sort of,
Yeah.
sort of team, but I can't see it with the level. But that's what the World Cup is.
I would personally, if I was going to pick, if I could pick who to win it, I want Argentina to win it.
I want Argentina purely just.
I want
Based
Messi
on
to win.
Messi,
Yeah, I'd love Messi to win a
That's a
World Cup.
football romantic.
Yeah,
point of
exactly.
view.
What I-
Because there's no structure apart from Rojo in the back there. There's
No.
nothing.
There's nothing at the back.
You can attack all the time, but if you've not got a structure, the game to place it on.
Like they're so top
That's not
heavy
deserved.
that eventually they're going to have to play Sergio Aguero left back because they've got their front line. When you think who they've got, what have they? They've got obviously Messi, and then they've got Aguero. Yeah, they've got Dybala, who hasn't been included in some of the squads. He's in there 35. Higuain is still in there. They've also got Pavon, who plays for Boca Juniors. He's a right winger, but he's quality. Yeah, Di Maria. Icardi.
Who's had a phenomenal season.
Phenomenal.
Yeah,
Like,
he's done well.
they've got about 8 players as they're listed as their attackers, and they have to whittle it down to 4, or 3 really, 3 or 4 are a push, if you don't include Messi, because obviously he's going to go. But they're being called the friends of Messi, because apparently Messi only came out of retirement because they said, well, you help us with selection. So he's hand-picking players that he likes. This is why Pavon, they brought in. Yeah, it's crazy, but they've said, look, we need you, and we want to win the World Cup with you. So you can pick, because he didn't like certain players, like Dybala. Apparently, him and Messi doesn't like the way that Dybala plays. They're very similar. They play in exactly the same position, really. And
It's just incredible.
he stops Messi from being Messi. So he'd rather play with 2 quick wingers. Hence why Pavon's come into it, because he's
So
rapid.
the forwards: Dybala, Perotti, Messi, Aguero, Higuain, Martinez.
Lorato Martinez, who's on
And
the
then-
verge of signing for Inter.
And then Icardi, who's just a beast. Midfield: Lanzini, Centurion, Meza, Biaglia, Pizarro, Perez, Eva Banega, Paredes, Battaglia, Di Maria, Pavon, who's in there.
So you've got
and
Pavon,
Perez.
Di Maria, Lanzini in there. They're all going to play in an attacking
Saying
position.
that, someone must
You can't include that and to have
Otamendi-
Messi, Higuain, Aguero, Icardi, Perotti. Ridiculous.
Because Otamendi has a
Messi's
season
gonna
of his
have to play
life,
goal.
doesn't he, for Man City?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great, but I
He's
just
done a
don't.
good season.
Yeah,
Still
And-
a bit touchable.
and like if Mascherano's there, okay, so Mercado, Salvio, Mascherano, Otamendi,
He's muscular.
Pizzali, Fazio, Rojo, Mori, Talafigo, Akuda, and Salidi.
Stanley Figo.
No.
Is Lo Celso in there? But yeah, it's ridiculous.
Anyway.
Yeah, we could keep going on about Argentinian players, but it's the same with Brazil. Like Brazil, their goalkeepers alone could win them a World Cup. They got Edison, can't even get inside. Edison can't get in the side. But yeah, do you want to have a look at the groups?
Let's see the groups.
Right, if I give you a group, who are the 2 that are going to progress then, yeah? Egypt, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Uruguay.
Egypt, Uruguay.
Yeah, I go with that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I reckon, well, Russia have somehow already got 6 points in that group, I don't know.
Well, there's a Platini thing, which
Well,
is
they
just
start with 6 points,
recently.
I don't know why that's,
Do you think there's
It's
something in
called-
that Platini thing?
Yeah, it's the Putin clause, that's what that is. That's the Putin clause. They start with 6 points
Alright, next
and
one.
work from there. The
Group
next
B.
one is actually, Iran, Morocco, Portugal and Spain. Spain and Portugal?
Spain. Yeah.
But
I can see
Morocco have
that.
got some beastly players.
Yeah, Morocco. They've got Ziyech from plays for Ajax. And,
There's
attacking.
some great
He's
players
a very
who
good player.
play in the French leagues.
Yeah,
Morocco.
and the
But actually,
Portugal,
Portugal,
Spain,
Spain.
I think.
However, I do think Morocco could cause an upset.
Very possible, I think, there, because either one of Portugal or Spain, they're not going to be in full
No,
fight
they
in
could
the
slip
first
out. Well,
game.
Spain went out of the groups before, didn't it? Was that the World Cup?
When they were defending it, wasn't it?
Yeah, was that at South Africa? Did they go?
The South African, they lost their first game and everyone was up in arms because they were so shit and then they went on to win the dance thing. So.
It was
So
which
that's
one
that.
did- Yeah, because they definitely went out in the group stages of one. Yeah, they won in South Africa. Right,
Okay.
Group C. Australia, Denmark, France and Peru.
Right,
I love Peru being in this World
I'm
Cup.
saying Peru and France.
Ooh. Even though Timmy Cahill is back.
I say Denmark.
Yes. I would say that. I'd say
Casper and the States.
Yeah.
I'd say Denmark and France. I think Denmark have got a bit. They've got a bit about them.
Australia will be tough.
Cornelius is in that squad, right? Andreas Cornelius.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Classy legend.
Yeah. Australia though.
They
Are
were
we,
signed.
are we overlooking Tim Cahill
I'm
coming
not
back?
looking Australia generally.
Yeah,
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 he's
yeah.
looking. He's overlooking the entire game.
That could be
Easy.
a tight group, that.
Yeah.
Could be a tight
I
group.
think it could be tough, but I like how Peru play.
But that's what I see about because then I see France progressing from there quite easily. Group D is quite nice. Argentina, Croatia, Iceland, and Nigeria.
This is the best group so far that I can't wait for because each one of them play with so much courage and heart. I think that's going to be an intense group to get out on.
Yeah.
And any one of those, any two of those could be in there.
Right.
Like with Argentina, I think Argentina will probably progress, but
I'm going to go.
Anyone
I'll
else?
start. So I reckon Argentina and Nigeria. I'm going with from that group because I just want Nigeria to get out.
I think Iceland's, they did really well, but I think their time's sort of come. I think it's going to be Croatia.
I also think that,
But it's always great to see Iceland.
We do. Everyone loves Iceland. Everyone loves white as white men with beards. Who doesn't? Group E is Brazil, Costa Rica, Serbia, and Switzerland. See, again, I think that's going to be quite tight.
I think it's going to
Well,
be.
second,
I think
Brazil.
Serbia are going to be there with Brazil.
I think on paper they're probably the favourites.
Because Switzerland, no matter how good the players are, they've never got any bite about them.
Yeah.
They never show like that little bit extra.
Well, Shaqiri's got another overhead kick.
Yeah.
In another World Cup.
Shaqiri's probably the only spark.
I think Costa Rica have got a little bit about them. Not much, but they got a little bit about them. I think Brazil. I would go Switzerland though over Serbia. I'm going to go Switzerland.
I'm going to go Brazil and Serbia.
Ooh. Right, Group F is Germany, South Korea, Mexico, and Sweden.
I don't think much of Sweden.
That's a lovely
I don't think.
group.
I think that's an aged Swedish squad. They've done phenomenal work to get there, but I don't see them progressing further than that. So
Is
Germany
Is
and
Zlatan
Mexico.
involved? Does he come out
No,
on
he's
time
not
for
there.
it?
No,
He's not
that
coming
he said that he would.
He knew he
And he
would.
kept cracking. Well, have you seen his advert that he released? He released an advert for a credit card company saying, it's official, I'm going to the World Cup. And then it was just an advert of him buying himself tickets.
Tickets to the game.
Yeah, and then it's him in Russia. He's like, I am here. And he's just like, you're not going here.
Zlatan.
But in fairness, he can still get in that side. They've got Marcus Berg up front.
Look, that squad's been there. Toivonen's up there as well. Seb Larsen still gets in that squad. It's just
Oh, 59.
Yeah,
it's just bizarre to me. Like. But look, Germany, Mexico.
I'm Germany, Sweden. As a safe bet, I think.
Yeah, I don't know, Mexico or Sweden. I'll go South Korea. I think Germany, South Korea. Is Park Ji-sung still? Have I got any? Right, Group G, here we go. This is where we all care about now. Because Belgium are in it.
Panama.
Yeah. Belgium, England, Panama, and Tunisia.
Right.
I think England are going to top the group.
Yeah?
I think so. I think they're going to either beat or draw.
They play Belgium first, don't they? Is Belgium
No,
their
last,
first game?
last.
Oh, it's last, is it?
I think it's in my opinion, I think it's the worst England squad I've ever known
Yeah.
going into a tournament. But I think they're going to top the group.
Saying that, they have got some incredible players, and it's
Incredible
off the
players.
back of in great form as well. Like we were waxing lyrical about Sterling, what season he's at,
Yeah.
and because like the media and he's own English and everything else and whatever, they never give him the credit that he deserves in terms of when he's come through this season and what high performance he's actually had in that Man City squad to hold down the place and to be consistent scorer and assists is just impeccable. So I do think there's elements of England, but we all know what's going to happen. You already know they'll get through, and then that's it.
Is there any other squad in the World Cup that's picked 6 fullbacks?
No.
Is there another squad in that World Cup, whatever, that have picked 6 fullbacks?
But like you're struggling, and our thing a couple of weeks ago was why look at like Smalling and Jones when you can pick in form people like
They don't seem to have picked
Maguire,
in form. Like I know Cahill's come back and had a good couple of games for Chelsea, and he's sort of been
Chelsea. He definitely should be.
No, he hasn't been.
Phil Jones' FA Cup final performance.
Yeah,
How is he in that squad? I like Phil Jones, but how is he in that squad?
No, he should.
In that squad.
And he hasn't been playing particularly.
He hasn't
played well
played
at the start. He's had a Phil Jones year, which is he had a good start to the season. Then he got injured, and he's come back, and he's like calamity after calamity, mixed with mediocre performances.
In fantasy football form, right? He always gets points.
Yeah,
Phil Jones Mourinho keeps clean sheets.
On paper, and
half those clean sheet points he gives to De Gea, though. Do you know what I mean? He always.
It's the same way Benitez was at Liverpool. Like Mourinho always won the Golden Glove. I think he won it 3 out of 4, 5 years. Something like he won it like 3 or 4 years on a bounce.
Yeah.
Because that's the way the team sets up.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's less space for attackers to go in behind the midfield,
Yeah.
play through the thirds. You just squash everything. You compact the pitch, and how can you break that down? Especially when you've got the Gea goals.
Yeah.
They're bound to keep clean sheets. The way it sets up.
But I think that over players like Cahill, who, look, he's an all right centre back. Cahill, Gary.
He's an awful lad.
Yeah, he's been dreadful, isn't he? But I still think Lascelles deserves to be in there more on form. I think Maguire. I think Tarkowski.
Maguire's had another good season. Like, is he an England starter? Not sure, but he's had a decent season.
Yes, it's a good season, and
he's had a good season for Leicester.
Well, we made the argument that if you pick players for say Jones, Smalling, Cahill, let's use those 3 as an example, because I think those 3 shouldn't be anywhere near that tier. But they're not used to actually doing much defending. Whereas
and I think it goes deeper
Lewis
than that. I understand where you're coming from.
He knows how to defend because he has to do it for about 70 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
And same with Lascelles, same with Maguire, same with Tarkowski. I think I think if you're going to be England, who, let's face it, they're not Brazil or Germany, so they're going to have to defend a lot and play differently.
Yeah.
Pick defenders that actually have to defend.
When I look through that squad, do you know what the first thing that comes to my mind? Who is going to be the one that's going to be thrown into the bus? Because it always happens, and I see Trippier there, and I know people are 50-50 on it. But I think I rate him. If I
had to pick someone from that,
as a right back though, you know they're going to pick a back 3, right? John Stones will be the centre half.
Yeah.
Kyle Walker will play on the right of the 3. It's who's going to play on the left.
Yeah.
Right. But then with their wing backs, would you go Trippier or would you go Trent Alexander-Arnold?
Well, there's talk that because they could still play Walker as the 3rd centre back.
No, that's what I mean. They will. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, they'll play Stones as the centre half. So if they don't play the super, they play with the flat back 3. Stones will play in the middle. Walker will play on the right. Who will play on the left? I think he'll go. Personally, I think he'll go with Cahill for experience.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not sure. I think that's opened up for debate. I don't think you like to Walker as a week.
Who do you go?
David James.
Bring him back.
I personally, if I was the England manager and I had to pick, I'd go Pickford.
I wouldn't put
I'd go Pickford.
If it's on,
I personally think Jack Butland's a better keeper.
But he hasn't played as much.
I think Pickford's a better shot stopper. But when it comes to England, you think, look at the World Cups they've gone up on, the goals that they've conceded. You don't necessarily always need someone that's amazing with everything. You need a shot stopper. And the best thing with Pickford is he's better with his feet. If they're playing a back 3 and he's going to look for John Stones all the time for the short ball, you need a keeper that's going to find him comfortably.
Because everyone overlooks Nicky Pope as well.
He's made the most saves to shots ratio this season. And most clean sheets.
Spare a thought for Tom Heaton.
But would you play him though? Would you pick him?
I'm not sparing a thought for Tom Heaton because that setup that Burnley have had, they've got two.
No, spare a thought for Tom Heaton because 12 months ago, Tom Heaton was.
What can you do? That's the black bit.
It's Tom Heaton a year ago was keeping clean sheet after clean sheet after clean sheet. Everyone was raving about it.
Yeah.
He gets injured. Nick Pope comes in and not only takes the number 1 jersey off for Burnley, takes it off for England. Like he's included. But no, Heaton's
how
on the
well
bench.
Nick Pope's actually done to prove his worth in there.
I think he's done.
Sorry,
I think he's done brilliant.
We're in England loop here.
We are in England, Luke. Right.
We've
We've
gone
gone too much into England.
No one's backing Panama.
No.
Probably the best flag of the whole tournament.
Yeah, Panama's the best flag.
Look how beautiful it is.
Looks like a.
Okay.
It is the best.
It's definitely different to us.
Matched only by a team in Group H, which consists of Colombia, Japan, Poland, and Senegal. Senegal's flag is lovely. I love Senegal's flag. Looks like you should be on a pack of Rizzler. I love it.
Ryan, anyone can look past Colombia. Like Colombia's
Colombia should
definitely
top that group, I think.
Radamal.
Or Poland. I'm going to go Colombia, Poland. I don't know who.
I'll go Colombia.
I'm saying Colombia, Senegal.
Over Poland?
Over
Over
Poland.
Poland, yeah.
Over Krakowiak.
Yeah.
He's just had
Have you seen? Show me.
Krakowiak though is going to have a point
Have a
to
look at
prove
the
after
Senegal
spending a
squad.
year at West Brom. in England.
I know Lewandowski's there. I know Blasowski's there. I know Fabianski's probably going to be in there. I understand that. But the Senegal squad is a very powerful squad.
It's going to be powerful.
It's very strong. Like if you see the Senegal squad, really, it is pretty impressive.
I just think I can't see past Colombia in that group. I really can't.
No, it's going to like we all agree.
Yeah.
Colombia will be there
For sure.
Colombia have got one hell of a squad. James Rodriguez,
Yeah.
a star. But right then, are there any players that you're right? Who's going to win the Golden Boot? Golden Boot.
Ron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This is what I want. See, this is the
But
point.
this will be a key, like Ronaldo and Messi, like final battle.
Well, this is why I want Messi. Well, this is why I want Messi to win the World Cup as well. Because imagine now,
it's reality.
Imagine, if you will, there's two glass lips.
Dream
Ronaldo's in
reality.
one and Messi's in the other. At the minute, they're both showing each other the Ballon d'Ors, and they're like, well, what else? I've got these. You know, and they're showing each other Champions League medals, whatever. I've got these. And then Ronaldo picks up the Euros and goes, got one of them. And then Messi, after this, can go, the World Cup. That's what I want, because then Ronaldo is going to play on for another 4 years. Guaranteed. If Messi wins the World Cup this year, Ronaldo will 100% play in the next one. 100%.
To be
and
fair,
so will Messi. Because he won't want to live in
You
a
can't
world.
get more motivated than for Messi, can you? Like going out of retirement after being so close before, and just like decide to throw all in. Now
Yeah.
this is it. You've
That
got
was
one more shot. This is it in your career. This is the last shot that you've got.
It's
So
It's unbelievable that he could finish. Thing is, there was those days where, because before it was always the argument, when until he wins the World Cup, will he ever be as good as Maradona or whatever?
Jesus
And it's
Christ.
just like it's not like that anymore. You know, it's not.
You're good enough, Barbara,
On that-
until you win this.
Based on that premise, then
It's
not
not individual sport or anything, is it?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't do it on Europe.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, he can't. That's the thing, isn't it? It's the amount of times people have said that. Oh no, he's not the best in the world.
Same
I'm like,
like-
hang on.
At the
What
Euros,
do you want
Ronaldo pulled that entire team, like dragged them over the line.
But
Like,
it's
the
just-
manager didn't do too much, did he? Like it was all Ronaldo. You see him
But-
on the sidelines.
It's just that argument just irritates me because it's just like, okay, then well, by that judgment, then are you telling me that Nobby Styles is a better footballer than Lionel Messi? Is this what you're telling me? Because one's got one that the other one hasn't.
It's silly. It's just the different levels, and like look, Ronaldo and Messi to be performing at the levels they have been so consistently. It's like, well, why haven't you got this then? Why haven't you got that? So
Yeah.
this would be a key thing to like. I'd love to see Messi lift it, but I love your romantic view versus like actual life. It's actually going to take place. Senegal will win the damn thing.
That's what I want. That's what I
So
want.
both thinking Messi and I think Ronaldo.
For Golden Boot.
Boot.
No, I'm gonna for Golden Boot. I'm gonna go on an outsider, and there's a few in my head. See, there's a
Danny
few that I
Welbeck.
can think of. Danny Welbeck is up there. It could be. I mean,
Giroud.
no, I'm
It is a
gonna.
good shout, though.
It is a good shout. It is a good.
Griezmann will get a couple of goals in this tournament.
Griezmann will
Griezmann will
get.
get a couple of goals.
I think he'll be just fresh going into Barcelona team for next season. I think he'll be very
He
motivated.
was a strong
And
man.
for Christ's sake, he's just won the European Cup as well.
Yeah.
He's just won that.
European, yeah.
At Arsenal's expense.
Yeah, he's got the Europa League medal behind him. I think it'll be interesting what happens at the in the Champions League final now, because I think there's a couple of those.
Is Ronaldo carrying injury at the minute?
There's talk that he is. There's talk he's
He
got.
played. Was it yesterday or the day before?
Yeah.
He did play.
There's talk that he's playing on a hell of a lot of painkiller injections.
Really?
Yeah. Against
That's when
Portugal,
he
which
may retire after this World Cup. For his international level,
Yeah.
I think.
unless Messi wins.
As long as Argentina doesn't.
Yeah. If Messi wins it,
As
Ronaldo.
long as Messi doesn't win.
Yeah. If Messi has
It's
got
the
a
whole
World Cup
team,
winners
right?
medal, Ronaldo is literally like, right, we're 2022, I'm staying. I don't care. Zlatan will come back if Messi wins it. Right, with Golden Boot, I'm thinking it is very tough. Maybe Muller.
It's not a bad shot. He's gone off the ball in terms of his goals ratio, hasn't he?
Yeah, he seems
He
to always
used to
turn
score.
up World
Yeah.
Cups.
Yeah, he's one of them.
He's like the new
He's one of them.
closer, isn't he? Who just
Closer, yeah,
closer
he's
could
one of
have.
them.
He could score like 3 goals all season, and he plays World Cup, and he's only got 12. It's like, how's that happen?
Yeah.
But yeah, Griezmann will score a few as well. There's a couple of ones. Look, Harry Kane could easily because of that group that they've got. Harry Kane could potentially
7 against Panama.
Yeah.
And he would have only
It's
scored
Harry
5,
Kane.
but he's claiming the Panama goals as well.
yeah. Harry Kane will win the Golden Boot regardless. He'll just turn
Just in
up.
the
I
group
scored them all.
yeah.
I scored them all in the games I wanted playing in.
I think Ronaldo,
It's
if they can get to the quarterfinals, he may have had enough goals in him already to possibly get that.
Yeah.
Cristiano.
Are you saying that Harry Kane then couldn't score Panama and Tunisia? He could have 6 goals
It's possible, isn't
before
it?
they
That is,
come out of the groups.
that is possible, but the way England play,
You know my feelings on Harry Kane. I think he's.
I know
I
you're
think
very
he's a good.
confused about that.
No, he's a good goal scorer. No, let's be clear, as I have every time. My belief is that Harry Kane is a good goal scorer, but he's not that good a footballer. He looks gangly, looks like a baby giraffe. I don't know what it is about him. He just knows how to score. And I've used this example before. It's the same as when AC Milan, when they watch Inzaghi train, and there's talk like Seedorf, Kate said in an interview, he's like, you'd watch him train, and you'd be like, how is that man a professional footballer? Like, yeah, he was like, he'd fall over the ball, he'd try and do passing drills, and they'd go wayward. He was like, he couldn't do anything. He was like, he'd shut runs, he'd be exhausted, and be like, no, I'm finished. But then he'd get on the pitch, and he'd score 6 goals, and you'd be like, how do you do that?
Really
I
well
just
done.
have a personal feeling that Harry Kane is like Inzaghi, in that he scores a lot of goals, but you put him next to, if you put him in a skills test or a football test with Ronaldo, Messi, even players like Neymar, even Lanzini, and he's going to get done.
listen, yeah, you just compared some skillful footballers. I think he's underrated with what he does, Harry Kane. Like his movement and finishing, like you're saying though, is second to none. Like, his top draw.
Yeah, it's
His
unbelievable.
top
He
draw.
knows.
He scores all types of goals. He scores ones from outside the box. He scores one angles where he's whipping in crosses to the right areas. He tucks away penalties
He's a great. He's
reads the game very
Yeah,
well.
I think he scores enough. I think different goals now to credit that he's not a bad footballer.
It's that consistency over time is
Yeah,
why
yeah,
I think he's good.
Again, like developer, like you sort of said,
Yeah.
he's football in the academy ranks. He'll never make it in the first team. He'll never make it in the first team. No,
Well,
Yeah, no,
he's
really.
vice captain. He's pretty much won Golden Boot the last 3 years, apart from Salah. Showing up this year, and even then he was only 2 behind in the end.
Yeah.
Wasn't he?
And he spent a lot of time injured. He was out.
First time he's reached 30 goals, I think, in Premier League goals. Is it?
Yeah.
I think he's at 30. He's only one behind what was the record.
yeah, true.
He's on form. He's on
Yeah.
form.
Salah for Egypt. Come
He
on.
might get a few.
Well, if
He
Mo
might get a
Salah,
few. He might get a few.
if Mo Salah turns up against Saudi Arabia and Russia,
Yeah.
But the problem that Mo Salah and the rest of this World Cup have is obviously in that group is Edinson Cavani, who's obviously going to get the Golden Boot because he's the best striker in world football. Oh, sorry, best centre forward in world football. Look, Cavani has got Egypt, Russia, and Saudi Arabia. Cavani could easily finish that group with 39 goals.
he could score a few in that group.
He is a world-class striker.
And talking about knowing where to be at the right time as a forward, Cavani it's ridiculous. It's almost as though he's just.
I'm selfish. I want to see him. I want to see him in the Premier League.
Yeah,
I really want to see him in the Premier League.
I do.
Maybe it's too late in terms of when he comes. He might have lost that little yard.
I'd be content to see him at Arsenal.
Yeah,
it never.
I think Arsenal actually looking at there's only two teams.
He's the manager that's going in at the minute. He could demand that Arsenal play him once.
Yeah, there's talk that PSG have got to sell him. They've got to sell this summer because they have to buy Mbappe, and they're already as soon as they sign Mbappe, they fail financial fair play, so they'll be banned from the Champions League. So they have to sell. Di Maria has basically said goodbye. They've said they don't want to sell him. He doesn't want to leave, but they have to.
Do you know how much they've got to?
And they've got to. Yes, as soon as Mbappe comes in, they've got to lower the wage bill.
Is that why they're lining up Jack Wilshere to come in? Is that one of the reasons?
They're going to
balance.
There's going to be a lot of players who come into PSG once Mbappe comes in.
That's not a bad free signing, that is it, for PSG.
Well, they're going to do. Not like when Juventus, they got Pogba on a free, they got Pirlo on a free. They signed Barzagli from Wolfsburg. Was it Wolfsburg? I think it was Wolfsburg for 500,000. Like that's three of those players: Pirlo, Pogba, Barzagli, and they only spent 500,000. And that was again because of having to balance the books after obviously they got dropped down in the scandal. They were in Serie B, and PSG will need to be doing this. So you will see players like Emre Can going to Juve as well. There's a lot of this around at the minute. Buffon PSG is on the cards.
Is Sami Khedira going to stay?
Yeah, he's got a year left, and they want to keep him apparently.
It's going to be a packed midfield.
Yeah, well, you had Emre Can in. You've got that.
That's what I mean with Emre Can.
Yeah, well, they got Khedira. I don't think off the top of my head. Marquisio, my boy.
He's probably going.
No, Marquisio will stay there until he's 50. Marquisio, that man will. He joined them when he was 7.
By playing, and he hasn't been playing this.
No, Marquisio will. He'll never leave Juventus. He'll never leave Juventus. They've got Bentancur as well. They've got Storaro. They've got a lot of young players as well pushing through. Emre Can in. There's a fair Blaise Matuidi, obviously, our boy. Blaise, who again, he could potentially have a very good World Cup.
So yeah, I don't see the reason behind why Emre Can would go there unless everything's agreed and pays fantastic. But it's such a weird situation for some of those Liverpool boys to be in. Like Emre Can, they've eased off playing him all this year at Klopp has, probably because of that. Well, if you're not playing, then whatever.
And he got back into the team at one point. They made him captain for two games.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just to show him what he could potentially have there.
They did that with Coutinho as well.
And exactly the same. But you've got to look at that Liverpool squad and think, what a season some of those young boys have had.
Yeah.
Like Alexander-Arnold getting into the English squad.
Yeah.
He does phenomenal.
Fascinating. Yeah. Who would have thought that? That's all about time and luck. It's incredible.
Going back to the England squad then, should we do, if you go through, you get winner of Group A plays second in Group B. So, Group A, we're looking, say, Egypt, then who was the general consensus Egypt was going to finish as runner-up?
I think Egypt
Uruguay.
I think Egypt will win Uruguay.
So one of Uruguay or Egypt, yeah? So they will then play, so the winner will then, there's 2 versus 2. So they will either then play Portugal or Spain, is what we're saying, because it's around Morocco.
It is A, B, C, is it?
Yeah, A, B, C, D, E, F. So the winner and runner-up in Group A will play the winner and runner-up, obviously reversed, of Group B, which is, so Portugal and Spain. So you could have a second round game of Spain and Portugal, Spain or Portugal versus Uruguay. Which that's
huge.
And then the other game could potentially be, it would be Spain or Portugal against maybe Egypt. That's 2 massive games there, second round games.
I'm getting excited about it.
If Brazil somehow or Germany somehow comes second in their group, one of them comes second and the other one comes first, they'll play each other in the next round. So Brazil, if they somehow come second to Switzerland, but then Germany win their group, it will be Germany-Brazil.
That's unthinkable for the second
Yeah.
round.
Or it will be Brazil versus, say, South Korea, Mexico, or Sweden. England, then again, if England do get through Group G, they will play one of Colombia, Japan, Poland, Senegal.
I think they've got to be fortunate considering the team we've already just named.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I know Colombia not going to be the easiest team to play, but it's better than playing Germany.
Yeah.
Surely.
Well, it's better than playing, if you look at, say, Group D. So you've got France, because Argentina, I could somehow in my head imagine Argentina not topping that group, weirdly,
Possibly.
with
Okay.
Croatia, Iceland, Nigeria.
Who's your left field choices then?
My left field choice, what, to win or to
Like
just
just
go
your
back?
underdog, just a back, because everyone knows
Well, I'm going to go Uruguay. I think
Yeah.
they could have a really strong tournament. A problem that you're going to have in Uruguay is that Spain and Portugal are in the group.
Do you know, I think no one's talking about at the minute because I think they've been overhyped and not done much lately. Belgium.
Yeah,
Why can't they hit the ground running now?
You know
Martinez is in there, Henri's the assistant.
yeah.
Why can't they then go and do the business this time when no one's talking
I
about it?
suppose they'll really prove how far they've actually come, because everyone thinks they bottle it when it gets to that stage.
They bought the Euros big time.
Massively.
Big time.
Absolutely.
Massively.
But it's great to see that.
My feelings on Belgium are the exact what we were just talking about, with the sun being, not greater than the individual parts. I think it's the opposite with Belgium. I think they've got a lot of good individual players, but as a team they don't gel as well as some other teams do.
And that's it, isn't it? It's that squad chemistry which makes it so important.
Someone who I think could have a very good World Cup as well is Nangolan. We're talking about Belgium because he's had a very, very good season at Ramble.
He's always been consistent though. He's always great. He's a great player.
He's superb. It
I
depends on
like
where
the
they
cut
play
his
him.
jib in, and he's just like devil may care, like give a shit attitude.
Yeah, just don't
He's
care.
just a cool guy, isn't he?
Yeah, Rajan Nangolan is
And he's very talented.
he's insane, and he's an absolute beast. And I know that they ended up getting, obviously getting knocked out by Liverpool, but that Nangolan goal in the second leg of the Champions League time, when he lashed it, and it looks as though it's going wide, and then hang on,
That was one of the most enjoyable games that I've seen.
yeah, it's brilliant.
At that level.
Maybe for the neutral.
Yeah. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Who do you see anyone like having like an upset, as in going out of the groups? Are there any big sides that you think?
I think at that stage in the World Cup, like any of those,
I can't see.
potential to.
Yeah, I just can't see any of the big names actually crashing out of the
I
group
think
stages.
we look at their group stage. Portugal or Spain, one of them might bottle, in the group stage.
Yeah, they
You look
could.
at their group, I think it's not impossible. You got Morocco in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Morocco are a good side. They are a good side.
It's not dead shit.
I think if anyone, it would be Portugal would drop out of that.
And look, you can't really write anyone off in a World Cup because they must have skill and talent to get to that level anyway. So I think I'm looking forward to the World Cup now. So we were just saying on the way here as well, like it's usually obviously like a lull of no football going on, but it just seems really charged up, the amount of transfers and energy and managers leaving and everything all in the mix, as well as this World Cup over the summer as well. So it just seems to be supercharged at the end of the season now, where everything usually just dies off and everyone has a little break and stuff. But there's none of that because everyone's got a keen eye and everyone's motivated to have a good World Cup or get things in place for that.
Yeah.
So I think it's really interesting time that we've got just in between, because it's not going to switch up. There's always going to be transfers
There's
happening.
always stuff happening. Like Leicester have signed Pereira now.
You loved that, didn't you?
Yeah, I loved it. I loved Porto. Have got two of my favourite fullbacks in world football. Like they got Alex Telles on the left, who's superb, and they got Ricardo Pereira on the right. They're both really young. They're really quick. They're a proper fullback. They get forward and they're great crossing the ball into the box. They've got a great young player there, Leicester, and they've got him early. And they've got him for a reasonable amount of money. I think they've spent 23 million on him for a 5-year deal. He's very, very good. It was only a couple of seasons. Well, PSG had a bid for him rejected 18 months ago.
Danny Simpson.
Danny Simpson, and he's gone. Well, they've already said about the Robin, haven't they, today?
Who was I talking about this to? Like, imagine thinking, my twilight years are going to Leicester for 8-10 million.
Yeah, that's what he's done.
And then just out of nowhere, Christian Fuchs just comes out of nowhere and just wins the Premier League. Imagine that, just your career's just winding down. It's like Wes Morgan, Robert Huth, and then like Christian Fuchs just have like a season which is just like That's going all right. And then to get to that stage and just being like,
Imagine being
we could win this.
Imagine being Nathan Dyer. Nathan Dyer is the biggest one in that Leicester squad. He wants to stay at Swansea. They go, oh no, you're not going to get any first. Leicester won you. You might get a couple of games there. He comes back, win the Premier League. Imagine you go back to Swansea, just like, do you have a good year away for Leicester? Win the league. Win the league. Imagine that.
And it is sad right now to see Swansea being relegated. Because I was really for Welsh football.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I think it
would be nice to have them both.
It would have been absolutely amazing to have both of them.
And then stay there, and then we can build ranks.
I genuinely.
Then you book Harry.
I genuinely thought they were so close to pulling that safe rescue.
I think they've made a massive mistake where they've pulled away from their philosophy. They've chosen the last couple of managers are just not what that club is all about.
Yeah.
And as soon as they change their style of play, it's all sort of gone downhill from there. Really.
It's all.
Do you think from Gary Monk that's been an issue?
I think
it seems like there's always been like a ton of problems behind.
Gary Monk was the last Swansea manager.
Yeah,
that mould.
It was his first job. There's going to be things you're doing right. There's going to be a lot of things you're going to do wrong.
It's that mentality, isn't it? Like we were discussing it. There's no time. There's no patience for it. No. So with Mikel Arteta coming in, it's sort of like for Arsenal, it's sort of a win-win for him because everyone expects that he's going to go anyway. But they still give him experience, and let's not get away from the matter. He was in that setup which won the Premier League this year, and he everyone tells me like. He's the right character. He's a tremendous character. He's a leader. He's got that mentality. He's captain.
Even forget what they achieved this season. Pep Guardiola wanted him as part of his main core of his coaching staff.
Yeah.
You don't take that mantle on if you're just all right.
Yeah.
He's gone through his licenses with the Welsh FAW. He's obviously shone out there. He's gone through and he's worked.
Yeah, it's obviously
to get that.
But it's that whole thing. It's the same as I've seen a lot of criticism of it. But it's the same people criticising when young managers don't get given a chance.
We need young managers.
The same people who will say young managers don't get given a chance will moan when young managers get given a chance because they don't have experience. Well, how are they going to get experience if you don't give them a job? They need to have it. We've said this a million times. You either go, there's three routes you go down. You go down the sort of Gary Monk route and the way that Arteta seems to be going, which is you somehow end up with a big, high-profile job very early on, and you either sink or swim. You go down the Nolan way, Kevin Nolan, who's taken over at Notts County.
That's a great thing to have.
And he's actually decided to go out. Same with Hasselbank. He's decided that he's going to start in a lower league and work his way up. Or you go the part-time route and do what Ryan Giggs did, which is, I argue, is still now where it was seen as almost the pinnacle of management when, say Don Revie left Leeds, who were seen as the best league side in the world. At that point, they were that highly ranked, Leeds United, that they were one of the best in the world, and he left because it was over England. It was seen as it's always a part-time job there.
Well, you look at Giggs. He turned down Swansea. He said they weren't ambitious enough.
Yeah.
So he's gone with the FAW because they obviously believe in the way he wants to do things. Mark Hughes' first proper good job of management was with Wales, and then he pushed on and done really good things, really, for someone that's just been thrown in there.
Yeah.
I think it's a good job for Giggs. I wasn't the biggest fan of him when I first heard of him, if I'm honest. Time will tell, obviously.
It's just the reports of him turning his nose up at other clubs which baffled me. So now I'm not good enough. Or like you said, like Swansea.
Not ambitious enough. I think, not necessarily think that's a bad thing, but maybe you could foresee that the plans were in place in that summer, and then now is being told maybe he was right. They've got relegated because they haven't done necessarily the right things.
Yeah.
Look at the mark that they put in the body coming back in January. That was awful.
That
was a massive cover up for the failures that were going on.
Absolutely shocking. Yeah.
And I think maybe you saw that when he went in for his.
Yeah. If that's the type
of
someone who's completely unmotivated and disenfranchised again, not putting in. How annoyed would you be if you were playing, you saw that coming back? After the season he had at Stoke as well, that was a horrible move to Man City when he went there. So unnecessary.
Yeah.
But it's a career, it's a job, and you understand when players make that, because all of us would make that.
You can look at the facilities now, you can go working in, a part-time environment where they're trying to do the best, or you go work in the best facilities in Europe.
Yeah.
Where they put, as a player, you'd want to go and taste that. You'd live your rest of your life regretting that, wouldn't you? I look at that with Vardy now at Arsenal. He's turned down Arsenal. I understand the loyalties, but going to training every day in the Arsenal complex with Arsene Wenger and the coaching staff,
incredible.
He will.
That's such a weird, like Arsenal wanted that and that was on the table.
I went there.
That is insane.
I'm surprised he turned it down.
My personal opinion is that with Vardy is that he realised that at Leicester he was big fish in a small pond.
Yeah.
And I reckon at Arsenal he'd have been found out and
Possibly
swallowed.
so, yeah, possibly so.
I think that was one step. I think he realised that in this.
It's just comfortable. There's nothing wrong with that. If that works for you and if your life is happy there.
Jamie Vardy has made a lot of money off this Hollywood story of his, which starting non-league and working his way up to winning the Premier League. If that went wrong at Arsenal, the ending to that Hollywood story is not the same as it is now because he stayed loyal to Leicester. He
Which
would
is
see
a
out
great
his
thing, it's
career.
not a bad thing.
Yeah,
It's not a bad
if
thing.
he went to Arsenal and it went wrong, suddenly,
He might not be in the World Cup now.
Yeah,
2018.
Jamie Vardy.
No, absolutely. That's
It's-
it. Just about time.
But you never win anything playing it safe, do you?
But look, all of us would be in that because, like we discussed again, like it is a business and it is a job and it is a career, and a career only lasts for so long. And you understand it. Like any one of us, if there was any jobs and it was like double wages or even a pay rise, that's the reality that we're in. It just seems away from reality when you consider like the span of a career so short.
Well, you've now
You
got
need
Jack
to make
Rodwell
these-
playing League One football, and he's on 120 grand a week.
Pretty much refusing to play as well.
Yeah, refusing to
The
play.
story with that is horrible.
That is
Oh, he's taking wages and apparently he's turning up for training and he's barely kicking a football now, so he's not getting picked, so he's deliberately not getting
What
picked.
mentality is that?
It's horrendous.
What is that
Absolutely
about?
horrendous.
It's
But
ridiculous.
that's the
But
way
that
it is.
happens
That's the way
because
it
things
is.
get bitter, things break down, and things like ego, and as well as like all the other facets. And like, imagine it. Like you're a kid. I still feel like I'm navigating my way around the world right now. Imagine if you're a kid and you put in that position. That's all you've ever known. It's hard to break out of that. And if people tell you how great you are, how crap you are, it's going to influence your mental health.
Yeah.
To remain, that's why the reason why I'm a big fan of Arsene Wenger and Arsenal, that philosophy that goes behind it, because all those elements are vital in the background, which no one else sees, no one else cares about, because they want it now, they want it now, they want it now. And it's not about that. On the whole, that's the show, that's when you're on stage, but behind that, no one knows the amount of hard work and effort personally that goes into the pitch, turning up, and a commitment that goes into football or anything. And that's the run of it. And you see interviews like after the game or whatever. People need to understand that is a show. There is a placard, man of the match thing, which is just stuck up. Behind there is just brickwork and nothingness. It's made to look like a show. It is made to look like that is the main attraction. So kids and everyone else is seeing that that's their perception. Behind the scenes is so much different to that. And so blood, sweat and tears get to that stage to create those chances for those players to have that lucky opportunity. So that's always forgotten about because that's the nature of the business. And that's what's being sold.
Yeah. I don't know how we got
Shot
there.
on all of football there.
I don't know how we got there from World Cup, but
It's a ramble.
it's a ramble. That's what we do. So we're picking. So you're going Germany.
Yep.
You're going Brazil. You're going France.
They're not rank outsiders, but I'm keen to watch.
There's a few.
Watch
I'm looking
Egypt.
forward to a few of
I
them.
want to watch Egypt. I wanna see what's going on
Yeah, Egypt will be interesting to watch.
Will
We've
they
got
do
a
last World Cup?
first World Cup in a long time. We've qualified.
It's
It's
dramatic.
Oh, you saw that
dramatic.
dramatic.
Yeah,
Yes, I
dramatic.
remember now.
It's called the penalty.
Yeah, I want to back Egypt for my little underdog pick. But it's going to be great, exciting to see because you know what it's like. It sets the imagination up. If when little teams
That's what we
do
need.
well and everyone gets behind them, like Iceland, like
Yeah, I
Senegal did, you know.
2002.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And Ghana and Uruguay as well to a lesser extent. You know, Ghana did really well. But I just want to see, you know, a good showing really now because it's not going to be this.
It's always good.
It's always good. It's, you know, the opening game is not going to be the best, which I believe is Russia, Saudi Arabia. I think it's the
Jubilant,
opener.
It's not a World Cup opener, is it?
No, it's not. Yeah, we need a football that travels properly when it's kicked. That would be
Not
good.
half balloon Jubilani.
No, but the only
Just to make it more
I was
exciting.
actually talking about this the other day with someone, and I was saying about because I read Diego Forlan when they released the ball, he got one and he's practicing with it and he couldn't use it. Forlan was just like, what's this? So he bought him 50, and that's all he'd practiced with when they were doing their solo training at he was at Atletico, I think at the time. When he went off and they were like, do your own thing, he'd go right, and he'd get his own ball out and he'd practice with that. And he was like,
I'm making 50 balls though, so he's got a team.
no, he's got a team on that. Just foreline, just like, yeah, right, penalties, hang on, and just dragging up 50 balls. But he practiced with it so much, he won the Golden Boot of that tournament. Because he mastered that football, because he had
And for
6
goalkeepers,
months of
he
practice with
was
it.
a pain in the ass.
He was.
For goalkeepers, it was just like, oh, wicked, that's what we're doing now, is it? Just for your entertainment. We'll just mix the whole game up, shall we? Let's have a blimp instead.
But yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be interesting. So it all kicks off very, very soon.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Alright, should we finish it there?
Let's
Thank
finish
you
it
to
there.
our star guest.
And these.
Oh yeah, there's just in the mise en scène.
We're going to get some Brasso on them now.
Alright.
Let's do it. Spain are announcing the squad tomorrow.